The purpose of this video is to discuss the role of insulin as it relates to different macronutrients and the combination of different food groups. So just as a nice refresher, let's look at inside of our bloodstream here. So this is our bloodstream. And we have blood sugar. So I'm going to put blood glucose as the abbreviation. So blood glucose, we'll just put over here, Bg equals blood glucose. We have to get this glucose from the bloodstream inside of the cell. So here's our cell. And in order to get this glucose inside, so we want to produce ATP. ATP can only be produced inside the cell once we get blood sugars inside. So this role of getting the blood sugar inside is going to be insulin. So insulin is responsible for basically this role right here. So now we have that blood glucose on the inside of the cell and we can make ATP. So let's look at a couple of things that increases our blood sugar. So if we look at an example, if this is our normal blood glucose levels, and let's say we have a simple carbohydrate. So a simple carbohydrate, let's just call it apple juice. So with apple juice, what happens is as we increase our intake of apple juice, we spike our blood sugars really high and then they come back down to normal. Now this requires a lot of insulin. So this insulin helps to normalize the blood sugars back to baseline. That's not necessarily the most healthy way for us to eat. So let's look at another example. Here's our baseline, and let's look at having a complex carbohydrate. Complex carbohydrates have fiber in them, so we can look at this example of a whole apple. This apple will have that fiber, so when we eat it, our blood sugars will increase and then come back down to normal. However, this does not require as much insulin, but it still requires some insulin because it is made of glucose, that apple, right? One of the best ways that we can all eat is actually by combining a couple of the macronutrients. So here, if we have a complex carbohydrate, so if we have a complex carb plus a protein plus fat, we can significantly decrease those blood sugars. So if we eat this way, our blood sugars barely rise and then come back down to normal. Now this does require some insulin, but not quite as much. And this is ideally the way that we want to eat. So this example would be a whole apple plus peanut butter because peanut butter has both protein and fat. So ideally, to help decrease your risk or decrease diabetes, so let's say type 2 diabetes here, we want to combine all three macronutrients at our lunches, breakfast, dinner, snacks, etc. So that's going to be the role of insulin.